All right, here we go with objective 5, which is solving multi-step equations. So in this objective, we're going to be looking at equations that look more like this. So the difference between this equation and ones that we've seen in the past is that this one's a little bit more complex. We've got multiple x terms on this left-hand side of the equation. We've got multiple constants, so just numbers also on this left-hand side of the equation, right? So there's going to be a little bit more work, a little bit more combining like terms that we're going to see in this. But otherwise, once we do that, it's pretty much the same. So let's take a look at the steps to solve multi-step linear equations. So the goal hasn't changed at all. The goal is to get the variable by itself. That's what it means to solve, is to get the variable by itself. And in order to do that in something like this, well, we have to get just one variable. Right now we have one here and one here. There are two terms with our variable. So in order to get just one, the first thing that we have to do, which I kind of alluded to earlier, is to combine like terms. And we're going to do that on both sides of the equal sign. So combine like terms on both sides of the equal sign. So that's our first step. Let's do that here. So here we have, I see a 5x here. That is like terms with this minus 3x. They have the same variable and same exponent. I also see that we have, let's see, this plus 5 and the plus 1. Those are like terms. So when we combine like terms, well, we can combine the 5x and the minus 3x. So 5 minus 3 is 2. So remember, only the number out in front changes. And then we've got plus 5 and plus 1. Well, 5 plus 1 is 6. So plus 6. On the right-hand side of the equation, all we have is 16. There's nothing to combine with here. So that just goes along for the ride. Okay, this looks more familiar. So step 2, we're going to solve as usual. So we're going to solve as usual. A quick reminder on those steps, we're going to use reverse PEMDAS. So please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. We're going to go in reverse. So we're going to start with addition and subtraction. And then we're going to look at multiplication and division. And then also, if you do something to the left, you have to do it on the right. If you do something on the left, so adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing, you have to do it to the right. Okay. So let's solve this as usual. Here we have 2x plus 6. Again, reverse PEMDAS. I'm going to write that up here for reference. So we start with addition and subtraction. So I see addition here. So we have to do the opposite of that, minus 6. We're going to do that to both sides. Well, the plus 6 and minus 6, those cancel. And then we have all that's left over here is the 2x. Bring down the equal sign. 16 minus 6 is 10. All right, so we have 2x equals 10. There's no more addition or subtraction, but now we have 2 times x. So to get rid of the multiplication there, we divide by 2. So then this 2 divided by 2, that cancels. So all that's left is x equals 10 divided by 2. Well, what's 10 divided by 2? 5. And we have our variable by itself, so that's our answer. X equals 5. You can pause the video and check your work by plugging in your solution 5 into the original equation. Go ahead and pause and do that now. Let's try example 2. So example 2, we want to solve this equation. So the first step is combine like terms. So I see that we've got a 6y here, and we've got a 2y here. Those are like terms. Well, 6y and 2y gives us 8y. We add those numbers out in front. And then we've also got a plus 3, and we've got a minus 8. So 3 minus 8, go ahead and take out your calculator for that one. I totally recommend checking on your calculator because we don't want to have any small algebraic mistakes, right? So let's go ahead and plug it in. We have 3 minus 8 gives us negative 5. So a lot of students will go really quickly and they'll do that in their head and they'll get like positive 5. I recommend using the calculator so that we don't make those little mistakes. On the right hand side, all we have is 11, so we just bring that down. Okay, so this is more like what we've seen. We've got a minus 5, so the opposite of that is plus 5. We do that to both sides. The minus 5 and plus 5 cancel. 11 plus 5 is 16. So then we have 8y, we bring that down, equals 16. Okay. Next up, we've got 8 times y. So in order to get rid of the times 8, we divide by 8. We do that to both sides. So the 8 over 8 cancels. And we have just y on the left-hand side equals 16 divided by 8. You can plug that in your calculator. 16 divided by 8, 16 divided by 8 equals 2. So y equals 2. Again, you can pause the video and check your work. Let's go on to the next page. All right, I've got 2 more examples for us. So this next one, we have 6z minus 2 plus 7 equals 16. So in order to solve this, we start by combining like terms. I see we have a minus 2 and a plus 7. So a minus 2 and a plus 7, let's plug that into our calculator. We have negative 2 plus 7. In order to do negative, you want to hit the negative button, which is right here. So negative 2 plus 7. We hit enter and we get 5, and that's positive 5. And then the 6z, there's nothing to combine with it there, so that just gets brought down. So we have 6z and then that plus 5 from combining these two. We bring down the 16. There's nothing to combine with it there. So now we have 6z plus 5. In order to get rid of that plus 5, we subtract 5. So then the plus 5 and minus 5 cancel. And we have 16 minus 5. 16 minus 5 is 11. And then we bring down the 6z. So now we have 6z equals 11. In order to get z by itself, we've got 6 times z. So to get rid of that, we have to divide by 6. So we have z equals, well, let's check what is 11 divided by 6. Is just 11/6. Now, you could approximate this, but I'm looking for an exact answer. So if you have, if your calculator just gives it right back to you as 11/6, remember, that's okay. Your answer can be a fraction. So you don't have to approximate. Just give me the exact answer, 11/6. Okay. Let's try one more example. So looking at this one here, we combine like terms. I see we have a 3r. We've got a minus 9r. And we've got a 5r. That's all the r's. So let's go ahead and combine those. We have 3r minus 9r plus 5r. Let's go back to the Inspire. Remember, in order to combine like terms, we only have to add or subtract the numbers out in front. So we're plugging in 3 minus 9 plus 5. Just those numbers out in front. Hit enter, and we get negative 1. So we have negative 1r. And then for the numbers, we have plus 7 and a minus 13. So plus 7 and a minus 13. Well, 7 minus 13, let's see what that is. 7 minus 13 is negative 6 or minus 6. So minus 6 here. And then we bring down the equals 8. Okay. Next up, we want to deal with addition and subtraction. I see that minus 6. We just combined. So let's add 6. That's the opposite. The minus 6 and plus 6 cancel. 8 plus 6 is 14. And then let's bring down this minus 1, this negative 1r. Okay. So we have negative 1r equals 14. Are we done? Did we get the variable by itself? Not yet. We've got a negative 1 in front of the r. So in order to get rid of that negative 1, remember this is negative 1 times r. So to get rid of this, we have to divide by negative 1. A lot of students will just divide by 1 and forget that negative. Be very careful. We want to get r just by itself. So we have to get rid of everything attached to the r, so the 1 and the negative. So we divide by negative 1. So let's plug it in. We have 14 divided by negative 1. 14 divided by negative 1. And we're going to use our negative button. Negative 1. Hit enter. And that gives us negative 14. So r equals negative 14. And you can go ahead and check the solution, plug it back into the original, and see if it equals. All right, so this is objective 5. We're going to get a lot of practice on this, so we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.